last night was supposed to be, and was, the first overnight frost in a long series of overnight frosts. And the last time that we covered up the garlic, by we, I mean my son had covered up the garlic with a bunch of leaves, at least he said he did. And then when I was outside cleaning up the greenhouse and all of that sort of stuff, I noticed there were no leaves on the garlic. So yesterday I had to make plans, went out there, covered everything up, and then I made sure to secure it with some chicken wire so hopefully the wind won't blow it away. And the plan for today came to me last night. I was watching videos on gardening, as one does on Christmas, and I came across a new channel. I want to say, oh shucks, I think it was Regenerative Gardening. I'll link her down below for you guys. I watched several of her videos and I got super inspired. She has some really good ideas. And one of them was reorganizing my seeds in a different way. I'm going to show you guys that in a little bit. But first we got a few homestead things to do because it's a homestead. Homestead doesn't wait. I think you kind of get the idea of why I need a new organization system. These photo boxes are fantastic. The problem with them is the way that I was organizing them. Last year I definitely knew that there was something wrong with the way that I was organizing them, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. Back in the beginning of the year, when I was actually doing well, I was keeping up with my garden, I was starting seeds, all of that fun stuff, I just found it to be kind of cumbersome. Okay, so I had all of them organized in there. Each little photo case was separated into different things. Like this one's basil. We got melons, turnips, and rutabagas. You know, I had them all separated. And I tried to the best of my ability to put like things in each box. But having 4 separate boxes made it really cumbersome to go through them all, figure out when I needed to start each thing, grab each of the correct containers, which meant I didn't put them back. And this here is the result of that. So after watching this video on regenerative gardening, I think, time will tell, but I think that her method of organizing the seeds will do much better than my method that I kind of just threw together. So her idea is to separate everything first and foremost based on direct sow and transplant. So you have 2 separate containers, and those containers are then separated into when they need to be started or when they need to be transplanted. That's the same thing. Based on when they need to be transplanted and when they need to be direct sown. And you put them in descending order. How simple is that? Okay, so for example, like one of these containers could be after the frost. So I need to sow all of these after the last frost. And then like the next container could be like between 2 to 4 weeks. And then the next container could be like 6 to 8 weeks. And then, you know, so on and so on. This is gonna be quite the undertaking. Last year I had myself a nice, let's see if I can find it. So last year I had everything kind of organized. I had everything planned out based on, each type of seed versus when they need to be transplanted. And I looked up everything when they need to be started or transplanted. Basically, it was just when I put the seed in the ground. And I had it looking cute and all that kind of stuff. But then when it came time to actually pulling all the seeds out, this is what ended up happening every single time. There's even some in here because not every seed fits in here. And that's why this big old tub here was very handy. Found it at Hobby Lobby for like beans, peas, corn, stuff like that. At least the ones that were not in giant containers. I haven't figured out how to organize these ones. We've got, this is my corn bin. We have Indian corn flour, peaches and cream, sweet corn, and Ohio blue corn. So these were just kind of big bulk ones that we purchased. I don't have an organization system for these. I don't have a lot of them, so it doesn't really matter that much if they're terribly organized. I just have to remember that I have them, which I haven't done so far. Then we've also got to organize all these ones that I showed you in the last video. I got a lot of seeds, y'all. I got a problem. I guess it's only a problem if you let it. I mean, it's garden seed, so it's not a problem. It is the only problem it is, I guess, is the problem of abundance. And that's a pretty good one to have, so long as I put it to use. I should also note here that the majority of my garden I grow to feed the animals. I am predominantly carnivore because I have a lot of digestive issues and it's difficult for my body to process vegetables, fruits, all of those sorts of things. So I don't tend to eat them a whole lot. Hubby also doesn't eat a whole lot for his own particular reasons, but I am spending the time in between now and harvesting season hoping to improve my gut health to the point that I can actually start to consume these things, because I love to grow them. I would love to be able to eat more of them. So I'm trying. That's going to be a part of some of my vlogs coming up. Things that I'm doing to kind of improve my gut health, things that I'm doing to improve my overall health. But my main focus is on gut health because I would really like to be able to eat some kale and not have pain. It would be great. So I just need to plow through all of these. It's probably going to take me the remainder of the evening. Wish me luck. It's going to take me a long time and a lot of coffee. So I will bring you guys back in the morning and show you whether I was successful or not in organizing all of these seeds. I did it, y'all. It is organized. It is completely organized, almost completely organized. Okay, so you can see, you can't see. At the bottom, there's a couple of these little photo case holders that are missing from there. And that is because most of my herbs are in the likely contender for having been left out in the greenhouse. So I just left, I think like maybe like 6 of those things in the room with like the herbs and stuff like that. So I have a couple of extra of these little things. When I do get a chance to test them for germination, then I can figure out which of the bags, I left them in the bags that were left out in the greenhouse. So I'll be able to test all of them so I can see which ones it was. And then I'll be able to put them back in here, organize them and all of that sort of thing. So this here is the beans and the peas. I think I must have gone through more than I thought I did last year because I don't have a lot in comparison. So these ones are the pole beans that are the dry beans. Like they're meant to be left on the vine until they dry up, and then you just put them in the pantry, like pinto beans or black beans, stuff like that. And then these ones are the pole beans that are meant for like fresh eating, like, you know, Kentucky Wonder pole beans and stuff like that. And then I also have the bush beans. All these ones are intended for fresh use. And then I've got the black-eyed peas here. And then these ones are kind of the shorter of the pole peas, and these ones are kind of tend to grow a little bit taller. Only reason for that is just, you know, for trellising. Some of them I'll have to put on taller trellises, some of them I'll put on shorter trellises. And then I've got all of these things organized. Let's see if I can blot my face out here. But you can see I labeled all of these things. I hope you can see. I can't tell if you can see, but I labeled all of these. You know, most of them were already labeled. You know, I had to switch some of them around, but for the most part, I just kept them in the same containers. But then I added on, like you can see, the direct sow and at 4 weeks prior to the last frost. And then over here, same thing. But this one is a T, so it's transplant at 4 weeks, which means that these are going to be transplanted, but I need to start them 4 weeks prior to the last frost. And these ones, some of these, like the sunflowers, they can either be transplanted or direct sown. I know direct sow on sunflowers is recommended, but kind of my plan with that is just to start many of them ahead of time, and then I'm gonna direct sow at the time that I transplant. Probably several of these. But like with a lot of things, like with the radishes and the beets and stuff like that, like I'm just gonna have to succession sow throughout the year. Anyways, these ones are about the 4 week prior to the last frost ones. This one is like pretty much everything in here is 8 to 12 or 8 to 10 weeks. And this is a lot of, you've got like peppers, basil, lettuce, kale, broccoli, cauliflower, stuff like that. So this is the box that we're gonna be using probably next week. I'm not gonna sow everything next week, just some of the things. basically just cabbage. Cabbage, Brussels sprouts, celeriac, stuff like that, that needs a really long time in there. And then I got this one that's pretty much 2 weeks prior to the last frost. And this one is a lot of the squash, got winter squash, summer squash, melons, nasturtium flowers, okra. And then the last one is kind of the middle of the road box, I would say. This one has most of the flowers in here. This is the one that's missing several of the containers. We got most of these are 6 to 8 weeks. Got a couple of 4-week ones in here, 4 to 8 weeks. And then I got the echinacea in here. The echinacea will most likely be started with the rest of them, but I ran out of room in the 8 to 12 week one. So it'll work. But at any rate, I ended up just looking online. I looked at the back of the seed packets on some of these, but most of them, with the exception of like Am I Gardener, most of them don't really give an exact time prior to the last frost that you're supposed to start them. So I ended up going online. Johnny's Seed actually has a really helpful one. You can plug in the date of your last frost, and then tons of different vegetables and flowers will show up on there and tell you when to actually start them. I'm not sure if I can find the link to that. I'll totally make sure to do that. But you know, you can just Google it. It'll tell you. And if you want to know what your last frost date is, you can also plug that in. You just plug in your zip code last frost and it'll pop up. I think the one that I usually go with is like the Farmer's Almanac. That tends to be one that I use. I don't know how accurate it is, but mine says that it is April 15th. Last year, the last frost was like the very beginning of April, if not the end of March. I was neglectful and I did not write it down, but I do know that I have some video somewhere that tells me when that was. Not very helpful. But anyways, so I ended up just writing it down. I've got, this one is all the different types of flowers that I have. It's not all the ones that are in existence. And then I've also got herbs, at least the ones that were in my room. And then I've got all of the vegetables, fruits and vegetables technically. And then I just kind of wrote down some of the seeds that I'm missing. So after the frustration of last year, these photo things are phenomenal. They are a wonderful way to organize. I can't think of a better way to organize my seeds, but it just needs the right organizational method. And I just think for me personally, the way that my brain works, I really think this is going to help a lot, because when it's time to go ahead and start the seeds, I can just grab the whole bin, head out to the greenhouse, start them, put them all back, and then put the bin away. I can't leave these out there, obviously, but I think that'll really be very helpful. And then, you know, when 2 weeks prior to the last frost, I'm ready to go ahead and start a whole bunch of things, all my squash and stuff like that, just bring the whole bin out there. And if you don't have a collection of seeds, like my collection of seeds, and also I should note here, all of these are not full. Like they are, some of them, like the beets and the radishes and, you know, some of the squash containers are very full. They are not all full. I just like to have them very organized. Some of them are full, don't get me wrong, but they are by no means even a quarter of them are full. I will link the video down below so that you can check out the original creator's version of this and the way that she uses it. It works for if you have a lot of things to organize as well as not many things to organize. And I believe last year I was able to find links to these online. So I will go ahead and copy and paste those into this video. So if you want to organize with this photo organizing box, as well as if you want to find this one for some of your bigger ones, I will link that down below for you as well. I'm sure you guys already figured out that I'm going to be sharing a lot of gardening content this year. I hope that you guys enjoy it. Most of you seem to, for sure. So stay tuned. I'm going to share with you guys everything that I know, everything that I'm learning, as well as everything that I'm learning from all of you guys. So share all of your thoughts, your opinions, and your tips and tricks in the comment section down below so that we can all learn from it. And if you want to check out the last video, which is a huge seed haul from Baker Creek, make sure you click that link right there for you. Peace out, sauerkraut.